everyone. Good afternoon. Hello. So it's fantastic to be here with all of you today as we reach the end of a very busy couple of days. I know what a big commitment it is to take out 2 full days of your time, and I really hope that you've found these last couple of days as fascinating and as thought-provoking as I have. I mean, where else can you go to do a technical deep dive on quantum computing followed by a fireside chat with David Walliams, right? It's all happening here at Future Decoded. And the good news is we're not done yet. We've still got a couple of more fantastic and inspiring sessions lined up before we let you go for today. You know, this is our 4th annual Future Decoded, and I'm delighted to say that we've had over 12,000 attendees here at the XL, which is a 40% increase over last year, as well as thousands streaming live online from over 100 different countries. And I think that shows really just how relevant and how timely the topic of digital transformation is, and how eager everybody is to come together and learn from each other. And it would be remiss of me not to give a really big thank you to our headline sponsors, GCI and Risual as well as our many other 48 sponsors and partners, without whom we could not put on an event of this scale and of this quality. You know, we've had some great sessions over the last couple of days, really highlighting the opportunity that exists across many organizations of all industries to really embrace this new wave of technology innovation to build businesses that are made to last. Because none of us are here looking for a way to deliver this quarter or next quarter. We're all here, I think, because we want our organizations to remain relevant and competitive for many years to come. And one of the things I love about my role at Microsoft is the time that I spend with customers and partners. And what I see is an increasing number of you empowering your employees to collaborate, to share with modern, secure, productive workplace solutions on all different types of devices. I see you engaging your customers in more personalized, insight-driven digital experiences. I see you optimizing your operations with intelligent applications and workflow solutions. And I really see you reimagining your products and services to take full advantage of the capabilities of cloud and AI. And there are 2 great examples right out on the floor of the expo that you can go and see for yourself. One being, if my clicker works, there we go, NHS Blood and Transplant Service. They're leveraging Azure to deliver a more scalable, flexible, reliable donor management platform using Dynamics 365 to manage organ transplant waiting lists. Using these tools, they can enable their clinicians to get information needed to make really life-saving decisions in the hands of those who need it, where they need it, when they need it. Another great example you can see on the floor of the expo is British Gas. They're using Microsoft 365 to enable their employees to collaborate and communicate more securely and more productively, and also leverage Azure, the agility of Azure, to meet the changing needs of their 21 million customer accounts across the UK. Now, while we know technology is the enabler of digital transformation, at Microsoft, we know all too well that this kind of change goes well beyond the role of technology. Change of this magnitude has a significant human component as well. Our own mission at Microsoft to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more, you'll notice doesn't include the word technology anywhere. This is a relatively new mission, and it reflects our own transformation journey, which our CEO, Satya Nadella, wrote about in his new book, Hit Refresh. And in the book, he talks about our own hit refresh moment when he joined as CEO about 3 years ago and posed the existential question, why does Microsoft exist? And our new mission is the answer to that question. But to deliver on that, we've had to adopt a new mindset. We've had to unlearn a lot of old behavior, old habits, while at the same time embracing a lot of new ones. And being really candid, we're still in the middle of that journey, and it's hard. But we've learned a few important lessons along the way that I'd like to share. Firstly, I think it's really important when you're transforming your business that you don't throw away those elements of your past that make your business special. As Bill Gates explains in the foreword that he has written for Satya's book, when you hit refresh on your browser, some of what's on the page stays the same. So while it's not a complete break from the past, you change and adapt as needed to drive the improvement. Secondly, a focus on culture is at the heart of any successful transformation. As Peter Drucker famously said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Without a strong culture in which everyone is doing their very best work, strategy is just some words on a page. And lastly, along with cultural renewal, has to come a focus on capabilities, specifically capabilities that will help us take our customers, our partners, and our own business into a new era. The capabilities that have made us successful in the past are not necessarily the capabilities that will make us successful in the future. At Microsoft, we believe that cloud services, AI, mixed reality, and in due course, quantum computing form the bedrock of the fourth industrial revolution. And we believe that these technology shifts will really reshape our lives, our businesses, our organizations, markets, society. And we believe that these technology shifts will deliver incredible benefits. We're very optimistic about that. We're also mindful that there is a risk of unintended consequences, one of which could be an impact on traditional jobs. And as you saw in the digital transformation report that we published yesterday, which you hopefully saw, 6 out of every 10 employees in the UK are concerned about job security due to new forms of technology automation. And we believe the best way to deal with this, first and foremost, is to acknowledge it, but then to focus on actually helping people build the capabilities and skills they need to succeed in the future. That's why back in January of this year, we launched an ambitious program here in the UK to equip people with the skills necessary to meet the needs of the new digital economy. And our 2020 goals include training and certifying 500,000 IT professionals in cloud technology skills, creating 30,000 new digital apprenticeships, 50% of which will be female, training 30,000 public sector officials in cloud technologies, and providing free digital literacy training for the entire UK population. As part of that program, delighted to share that our UK Digital Skills Hub is now live. It consists of free online resources, and it's designed to make it really easy for individuals of any age, whether digital novice or digital native, to take their skills to the next level. This online resource hub is just one of many initiatives that we're taking to support growth in the UK, to build a stronger talent pipeline, and to create opportunities for individuals and organizations to make the most of the fourth industrial revolution. Now, we're not alone in our quest to achieve these bold ambitions. We can only achieve these by scaling through our more than 25,000 UK partners, an ecosystem that employs 600,000 IT professionals and 1 out of every 4 technical apprenticeships in the country. But our bold ambition also requires a new way of thinking about partnerships. And to explore this in more detail, I'd like to introduce Professor Amanda Broderick, CEO of Newcastle University London, and Gary Neville, of course, former Manchester United and England star, but also a principal and co-founder of UA92. Please join me in welcoming Gary and Amanda to the stage.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Cindy. We've enjoyed a really fascinating couple of days, and I think there has been a consistent message that has run through pretty much all the way across those 2 days, and Cindy's alluded to it, and that's been the importance of skills. What's the answer to Brexit? Skills. AI, machine learning, automation, digital transformation, skills. And of course, at the heart of Microsoft's National Empowerment Plan is skills. However, there are hundreds of global surveys that have highlighted our current and growing skills gap. One of the most recent one of those surveys this year concludes that over 80% of organizations believe that the skills gap will impact their business significantly in the future. Of course, there's not necessarily a single solution to this, and evidence highlights just how difficult it is to measure worker skills, especially those that are related to new technology. And this is exacerbated when thinking about the type or the generation of worker. So we often hear the term the millennial generation, and plenty of images come to mind when thinking about this. So Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg earning his first billion at the age of 23, Adele hitting global stardom with her second album at 22. But in the next in the next couple of years, 5 generations of workers may be working side by side due to increased longevity. So pre-World War II veterans, baby boomers, Generation X, millennials or Generation Y, through to, last but certainly not least, that largely unknown generation of workers, Generation Z. These are young people who are born from the mid-90s. There's more than 3 billion of them worldwide, and they are just about to get into the workplace. Now, as a mother of 3 Generation Z boys, I can feel affinity with some, if not all, of the characteristics that have been used to describe this generation, both the strengths and also some of the challenges as well. But we recognize that Generation Z are likely to have jobs that have not even been created yet. So how do we ensure that they have the knowledge and the skills that will be needed for industry in the future? Their characters are still very much forming, and their role in the workplace is yet to even take shape. They're the first generation to grow up fully connected with social media and a constant proliferation of information on a fully mobile internet. Key messages for Gen Z talent development include a focus on an importance of jumping across disciplinary and specialist knowledge boundaries as technologies and disciplines converge, developing technical training and softer collaborative skills, and a focus on the development of key skills and competencies that will be at a premium in the future, such as resilience, such as adaptability, enterprise, and also those key business skills that are absolutely critical for the project management of careers in the future. Now, 5 years from now, over 1/3 of skills that are considered important in today's workforce will have changed. By 2020, the 4th industrial revolution will have brought us advanced robotics and autonomous transport, artificial intelligence and machine learning, quantum computing, advanced materials, biotechnology and genomics. These developments will transform the way we live and the way we work. Some jobs will disappear, others will grow, and jobs that don't even exist today will become commonplace. What is certain is that the future workforce will need to align its skill set and its set of competencies to keep pace. Now, competencies incorporate a skill, but are more than that skill. They include abilities and behaviors, as well as knowledge that's really fundamental to the use of the skill and that are highly predictive of performance. And research suggests that individuals displaying certain of these competencies can actually perform 20 times better than others, 20 times more productive. And if we match those individual competencies with job competency models, that will put individuals in positions where they can really contribute the most. If we understand and use those competencies, we'll be able to create a much more talented workforce, and that will become increasingly key when maintaining a competitive advantage. We've worked with more than 300 organizations, from global blue chips through to SMEs, to identify the most valuable competencies that correlate the most highly across industry sectors. And these 7 competencies, together with the integrating digital literacy skill, are becoming increasingly valuable in the global digital economy. Now, I mentioned earlier in the keynote the sometimes challenging nature of skills and competency measurement. And fundamentally, those 8 competencies that I've been talking about, are fundamental to or arise from emotional, social, and physical intelligence of an individual. Self-awareness is at the heart of one's ESPQ, and the more one is able to develop and enhance it, the more the individual is able to deploy it in the form of those competencies that are so critical in the workplace. Now, many of us are already well aware of emotional intelligence, or EQ, the ability to know, to understand, and respond to emotions, having sound situational awareness, being able to overcome stress in the moment, and being aware of how your words and your actions have an effect on others. Now, we know that workers with high EQ are better able to work in teams, are better leaders, adjust to change, and are highly flexible. And as the workplace continues to evolve, those qualities become increasingly important. But parallel and complementary to EQ is physical intelligence, or PQ. This is the ability to understand physiological cues to improve mental functioning, such as attention, motivation, and subsequent behaviors, but also including the ability to build resilience, to increase perseverance, to increase self-control, and to manage stress positively. And increasingly, employers that use new technologies are basing hiring decisions not just on a solid educational knowledge base, but also on using those non-cognitive skills that really allow some people to excel at learning on the job. So companies such as Amazon, as Boeing, FedEx, the military, Pepsi, and Microsoft. Amadori, for example, which is part of McDonald's supply chain, found that over 50% of variation in performance management scores can be predicted by EQ. And Sanofi Aventis evidenced a 5-to-1 return on investment in their PQ talent development. Now, we know that stimulation or stress can actually be a good thing. It's called eustress. And you need some level of stimulation, some level of motivation or arousal to become enthused. And this actually increases performance. It can get to a point, of course, when that level of stimulation starts depleting your resources faster than you can build them. And that's when performance and indeed health can start to deteriorate. One fascinating fact I find, anyway, is that anyone can evidence, using athlete-level heart monitors, the fact that the heart has a different rhythm, not only in terms of the amount of stimulation you're feeling, but also whether the emotion you're feeling is positive or negative, even when that stimulation level remains the same. So with increasing one's physical intelligence, you're able to consciously develop and influence your physiological reaction as well as your emotional reaction. We now have the technology to capture real-time, minute by minute, one's stress and recovery balance, the restorative effects of sleep, or lack of it, the health effects of physical activity, and total energy expenditure. For example, Heartbeat's heart rate variability analysis reveals how the body reacts to daily life 24/7, enabling one to connect the dots between lifestyle and well-being and to become more self-aware of one's current physiological resources. Using other developmental tools, such as HeartMath, we can learn to self-regulate our emotions by self-regulating our heart rhythm, actually building physical intelligence. And this is being increasingly used by board of director level resilience building. For example, there is a fantastic company called Insight to Thrive who work very closely with Microsoft. And importantly, this executive development activity can be objectively and scientifically measured and tracked over time. Bringing this back to next generation talent development, the UK Commission for Employment and Skills have called for organisations to intensify collaboration with the education sector to address key skills challenges, to develop both the capability and the capacity to manage skills and talent across global business networks and supply chains. Industry-wide collaboration by business with education providers is absolutely critical. For example, building industry-specific skills and competency frameworks, such as that created by Microsoft's new apprenticeship framework, where they work hand in hand with preferred educational providers, is one useful example. And building innovative education and training models in collaboration with universities and schools that develop, track, and then importantly accredit competencies, which could be captured as a kind of digital career passport, for example through the use of Microsoft's digital assets, which could actually revolutionize our approach to talent development. We know that the most successful workforce development efforts are those that team job-specific education resources in schools and universities. And I encourage you, if you haven't already, to make a pledge, connect through Microsoft's apprenticeship framework. Gary has already done that. And indeed, over the last couple of days, many hundreds of you have made a pledge for the Microsoft apprenticeship framework. But also, please reach out and connect with your university partner to explore competency development and measurement to ensure our young people and our organisations are best equipped to deal with the challenges and the opportunities of the future. Thank you.
It's a call for hungry dreamers and hard-working self-believers. Success is down to more than just luck and talent. It's striving to be the best, breaking the boundaries and never giving up. Are you ready to become your best self? Are you ready to unlock your greatness? UA92 is game-changing, created to accelerate careers in business, media and sport. Much more than a qualification, it's a personal development journey that prepares you for life. Become your best and connect with the best. With guaranteed placements and preferred graduate status with major players. Be part of a revolutionary new university, a new way of preparing for better. Sparked from the minds of the class of '92, their tradition of dreaming big, and inspired by the commitments of passion, preparedness, ambition, and youth. So what are you waiting for? Discover UA92, the exciting new campus from respected academic pioneers, Lancaster University. This is Education Evolved. This is UA92.
Thank you, everybody. Footballers, education, not usually a partnership. How did this start? I suppose 2.5, 3 years ago, I was coaching with England, and I suppose, was coming across an attitude. I was seeing young 17, 18-year-old footballers, talented footballers come into the England squad. I was a coach under Roy Hodgson. And looking at them and feeling the perception of them is of being overpaid. The perception of them is being flash, cocky, arrogant. But actually the word that I would use having worked with them was vulnerable. Not able to cope, struggling, to be honest with you, to cope with the pressure, not having the resilience and the robustness that Amanda has referred to in her speech just before. And thinking, how have we got to this stage? But then hearing, I suppose, my generation and the generation above me, the attitude towards young people of they don't make them like they used to. There aren't any characters anymore. There aren't any leaders. And I'm sure you'll have heard that a lot in the last however many 5, 10, 15 years when referring to young people. And we had a partnership at the time between Salford City, the football club that I own, and Salford University with Amanda. Amanda was working at Salford University. And I started to speak about education and, you know, what was education like in terms of, was that attitude, did that attitude exist? I was seeing it also in business. This idea that referring to the youngsters of today as not being, if you like, having the character. And thinking about university itself in those formative years of 16 to 21 and I suppose the experience that we had under Sir Alex Ferguson, Nobby Stiles, Eric Harrison, great coaches, great teachers, very fortunate actually not just to be taught football but about hard work. Sir Alex Ferguson, I think in the 25 years that I worked under him, never did a team talk where he didn't mention about how being proud to work hard, never giving in, doing your very best. And actually I feel like from a period of 16 to 21 we were taught to be strong characters, to be able to last, to have longevity. And spoke to Amanda around what was education like at university level in terms of, you know, obviously you might go and do a business degree, a sports science degree, a media degree, but what else actually was on offer? What else was being instilled into the sort of young students? And actually got the answer back that was dissatisfying, similar in football, not much really. And I thought, surely that needs to change. If we're sat here as an older generation talking about youngsters in the way in which they're being referred to, surely we have a responsibility to actually put character at the very heart of education and from the age of 16 to 21. And not very good at working this slide. You think I would be, actually. There we go. So you think about conventional university, conventional education, and the academic discipline, the degree, is very much at the centre. But where we were coming from in terms of UA92 was to put character at the very, very centre of the teaching, if you like. There are thousands of football players who have skill. There are thousands of students who have a business degree or a media degree. But what differentiates the one that you actually want to employ? You have 10 people coming through your door as an employer and they've all got the same qualification. What is it that stands out? It's the ones who have got leadership qualities, the ones who've got personality, the ones who've got character, the ones who you feel can be a good team player. My dressing room at Manchester United was a wonderful place to be, where everybody looked at each other, where we knew each other was going to fight for each other, work for each other, and go to the very end. And I put a little bit of money down and set Amanda off on the road of actually, could this character development-based university be something that could be executed into an academic qualification? And I wrote 10 things down that I felt personally I'd want my child, son or daughter, to be able to actually have at the age of 21 going into the, if you like, the big wide world where they're going to start to work. There were 10 very, very simple things, if they come up. Pillars, if you like. Subject knowledge, it's obvious. That's the reason you go to university. That's the reason you go into football. You have a talent, you have a skill, and you're going to learn about that. But then life skills. By the age of 21, I think you should have had an international experience. You should have been on foreign soil. You should have coped on your own. You should understand and maybe done a charity project or a CSR project to see what life might be like on a different side. Work experience. Yes, of course, from the age of 16 to 21, you're bound to have done some type of work experience and placement. But actually, what about showing a youngster what failure might look like? a job that they don't want to do, and actually let them experience that for a period of time. What's the consequence of not working hard? The consequence of not turning up every day, of not getting up in the morning, and actually make them see that for a while whilst they're actually in their formative years. Survival. We're a lot more aware nowadays of mental health, around the struggles and stresses that, again, Amanda's referred to in her speech. And how do we cope? You should be stressed between the age of 16 and 21. You should be pushed. You have to be put in uncomfortable situations. I want my child to be put in uncomfortable situations so they can learn how to cope, because they're going to hit those obstacles as they go into their later years. They're going to hit those moments where they don't feel great, but they've got to be able to get through them. They've got to be able to come out the other side. And as a Manchester United football player, we always seem to come out the other side. We're able to cope with defeat, with success, with praise, with criticism. Leadership, it's obvious. We all want to be surrounded by leaders. But actually, how do we put that and embed it into an academic course where you actually put an individual in charge of 4 or 5 others, or to organise or control or deliver potentially some type of lecture or presentation, and challenge people to become leaders and actually put them in that situation in their formative years so that when they come out, they can actually have the roots, if you like, of becoming a leader, of someone who has got authority. Self and peer group analysis. Are you aware of what you're good at, of what you're bad at? Can you judge yourself? Are you honest with yourself? Again, accountability was incredible in the dressing room that we were in. There was never a player who came in at half-time that had given a goal away who ever pointed the finger at somebody else. They always stood up and said, it's my fault, I will improve. And also peer group analysis. We're actually in a society now where people don't like being told that they're not very good at something. They can't accept it. They're sensitive. Again, the dressing room that I was part of, where accountability was there, a bad pass was a crime. Losing your man on a corner, and actually being analysed by your peers and being told that you'd done something wrong and how to improve was part of what we were. And actually we were very comfortable being told by people in our workplace that we weren't good at something or how to improve. We didn't see it as a personal affront or a challenge to our quality or a challenge to our character. We saw it as them helping us. And how do we actually build an environment every single day in a workplace where that exists? And you know, the many people in this room, it's tough to create that environment. Participative learning was around coaches in football used to lecture teams. University lecturers in universities would stand at the front and do what I'm doing now and speak at you. But actually that's not an environment of health, a healthy environment. How do we actually enable and empower the students to actually go and find the answers for themselves? To actually explore and understand how they get there themselves, and don't tell them the answer, let them go and find it. Fitness. I just think it's important that you understand what the body is capable of, the importance of nutrition, the importance of health, the importance of training, in fact, the impact that it can have on not just your physical competency, but actually in the way in which you operate every single day. And you'll all know what I mean. You feel a lot better when you eat well, you feel a lot better when you train, you feel more able to perform. And actually, should a student between the ages of 16 and 21, should it not be actually obligatory that they have to do some element of fitness during the week? I would want my child at the age of 16 to 21 to be actually healthy and fit and be made aware of that. Presentation skills. At some point during your working life, you're going to have to stand up and speak in front of people. You may as well get used to that whilst you're in your formative years of education between the ages of 16 and 21. Yes, you'll feel uncomfortable. I go and watch my young 7-year-old and 8-year-old in their nativity plays at Christmas, and they've got to remember the lines, and a lot of you will have done the same, and they get very nervous. But I like the fact they get nervous. I like the fact that they've got nervous and actually come through at the other side to the point whereby they become comfortable becoming nervous. And I think, to me, that's something that, again, should be embedded absolutely in a course of education. And then finance skills, just obvious. I think you're going to have to budget at some point in your life, through a week, through a year, set up bank accounts, deal with a mortgage, interest rates. Why wouldn't you actually learn these things as a rule whilst you're in university? So these are very 10 simple things that I felt should really be, you could be taught, you could learn, and that's where we came from, and that's sort of the ethic of UA92. And I suppose what we also wanted was an education that was co-designed by industry, because the most important thing is that young people end up in employment, in great jobs, where they walk into somewhere every single day and they love what they're doing. And it was through our conversations and partnership with Microsoft that an 11th pillar was introduced. I'm kicking myself for not thinking of it, because I'm surrounded by my phone and my tablet every single minute of every single day. But actually, at the age of 21, you should be digitally literate. I did say illiterate at the media conference, it's literate. Absolutely, you're not going to survive in this world now without being able to have those skills. We know the skill shortage in that area. And we were in a meeting earlier on today where what is success for this university? Whereby a student has got a business degree, whereby they're actually robust and resilient and got a great character, and they're ready to come and work for a company like Microsoft, oven-baked and ready. And to me, that ultimately is what the ethic of this university is. We're proud to be able to say that it's happening, it's going to come our way. We obviously have to prove our concept, but we feel as though it's the right thing to do, and we're proud to be partnering with Microsoft, a wonderful company, and I thank you for asking me to speak here today, and I hope you've enjoyed what I had to say. Thank you.
Gary, thank you so much. UA92 is just so exciting and such an inspiring project, and we're really proud to be part of it. So thanks for joining us here today. I'm going to ask you a few questions, if I may. I know that it's important to you as part of the project to associate with industry, and I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that industry partnership and the benefits that you expect to flow to UA92. How will that help?
Yeah, I think at times, and again speaking in the early phase around education, it's been, if you like, the curriculum is designed by academics, and very much with UA92, our industry partners, particularly Microsoft, are at the very core of the creation of the curriculum. So actually, that is the students, the people who pass through our university are actually ready, there to go. We know that you have, I think, is it 30,000 apprenticeships, I think, pledged in the next 3 years, which is absolutely incredible. And the reality of it is that these students are going to end up in a business, in a company, and what are the needs of the industry? What are the needs of businesses? And actually, should that not be integrated absolutely at the heart of an academic course? It absolutely should be. And so from our point of view, that is the real role. Obviously, we need to be able to have a wonderful university like Lancaster University, who've got a great reputation, a top 10 university, but they're so open and willing to be able to actually say, let's try and do something differently. Let's try and be innovative around the way in which we deliver this. And I have to say that our conversations with Microsoft are the wonderful conversations, actually, particularly when you sit in the meetings.
Yeah, it's great to see technology as a foundation underpinning the project. And don't kick yourself, it's fine. What went into your selection of a technology partner? Why Microsoft?
Why Microsoft? I mean, they're obvious, a global brand, fantastic company. But then I walked into the Microsoft offices in London and I hadn't met anybody. But when you think about walking into a space that you would want to work in, you would want to be in, energetic, vibrant, everybody looking like they're happy, you think, I'm sure you see it from a different angle at times.
About right.
But actually when you walk in there, you think, what a place to be, this is what a place to work. And that's how the values are aligned in terms of the culture, character at the very heart of it. We were saying the same things, sometimes in a slightly different way, but the idea of empowering people to achieve the best, to do more, is very much where, I suppose, our godfather, if you like, Sir Alex Ferguson, you know, all he ever asked for was to achieve our standards and do our very best, and to try and strive to be better and never give in. And those are the principles I feel that when you read sort of the Microsoft culture document, you surround yourself by the Microsoft employees, you just feel that sort of synergy and that same feeling, that that alignment that exists between what we're trying to create and what you do.
Yeah, hard to describe, but very powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. So clearly we're at the start of the journey, just scratching the surface really, but what would be your kind of long-term vision for UA92?
The long-term vision would be for you and Microsoft to actually be feeding back into us that the students that have been through our university are different, that they've got real character, that they are resilient, that they are robust, that they are skilled. That would be the ultimate, I think. That's the only way in which we can be judged. Have we got fantastic people coming through that actually can deliver at the other end, that actually are capable of working for you and capable of working with you? That would be the ultimate success. I don't think we can be judged in any other way. I think giving a degree out at the end of the 3 years isn't success. That's what everybody does. Can we somehow make our students, the people who come through our university and through our courses and through what we're trying to do, slightly different, have that edge, and that would be success.
Brilliant. So final question, you talked about your godfather. If Sir Alex Ferguson was here, what leadership coaching do you think he would give to me?
To you?
Yeah, what was he like to work for?
He clipped me around the ear first. Neville, what are you doing? Honestly, hard work was at the very heart of everything that he did. The ability to get up every single morning and go to work, do your very best, with a level of integrity, a level of honesty, because that's the bits you can control. That is the controllable. That is the thing that you can do every single day. There are other things which are out of our control, the markets and different things, but actually what you can control is your own performance in terms of the work ethic and being prepared. I suppose when I was playing football, the only two things I ever asked of myself was that I prepared the very best that I did leading up to the match, and I actually did the very best I could during the match. Sometimes you don't always get the result that you want, but actually if you keep doing those two things, you'll get there in the end. And I think that's what you would be saying to anybody in this room, would be just to make sure that you prepare the very best that you can and you work as hard as you possibly can and never give in and keep going. And like I say, his references in team talks and in his speeches to us every single week were around this being proud to work hard, being proud of your work ethic.
Yeah, I love that. I hope my people are listening. Thank you so much.
Again,
we're honored to be part of it. Can't wait to see it come to life. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Neville.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll take that with me.
Now, I'm really excited to introduce the next session. Prepare to be inspired. You'll now hear about some amazing things we're doing in the area of accessibility and empowering people through technology. And to kick off this session, I'm delighted to introduce Karen Jochelson from the UK Office of Disability Issues. Please join me in welcoming Karen on stage.
Hello. Thank you very much for inviting me here today to meet an audience and have the opportunity to make the world a much more accessible place. I'm Karen Jochelson, and I lead the Office for Disability Issues. We support the Minister, Penny Mordaunt, in her ambition to build a more inclusive society for everyone. Our goal is to raise the ambitions of government, business, and civil society to remove the barriers so that all disabled people are able to fulfill their potential and participate fully in society. I want to talk about two issues today: inclusive employment and assistive technology, both of which can help build a more inclusive society. To give you an idea of why this is so important, just 49% of disabled people are in work today, compared to 80% of people without a disability. And for people who develop a disability and leave work, they find it increasingly difficult to re-enter the workforce the longer they remain out of work. Now, this represents a huge untapped talent pool that society and businesses are missing out on. It's increasingly clear that bringing disabled people into the workforce introduces new insights, different lived experience, new problem-solving skills, and helps create a more inclusive, and as Satya Nadella said in Hit Refresh, an empathetic workforce. Now, government is committed to getting 1 million more disabled people into work over the next 10 years. But we can only achieve this if business also plays a role. And Microsoft shows what can be achieved. It's been great to hear about Microsoft's success with its autism hiring program over the last 2 years. Many disabled people tell us that they have never had an opportunity to demonstrate their capabilities, as they fail at the first step in the interview process. Now, Microsoft has recognized this, and as part of this program, now uses non-traditional interview processes so that candidates can demonstrate their abilities in a comfortable and supportive environment, and so get through the first hurdle that is so often a barrier to job applicants. And once they start a full-time role, new employees are supported with coaches, mentors, and buddies to assist them in navigating the work environment. And if they need it, equipment, such as sound-reducing headphones, to minimize the distracting elements in the work environment. Managers have also benefited from this program. They learn the importance of setting clear expectations, giving quick and constructive and regular feedback, as well as the value of frequent communication. Incidentally, this also makes them better managers, not just for their employee with autism, but for the whole team. So the business benefits in many ways. Government has a slightly different role to play. We want to support those who can work into employment. So, for example, we have increased our funding for the Access to Work program, which provides practical and financial support to cover the additional costs of individuals whose health or disability affects the way they do their job. Access to Work, for example, might cover costs of travel to work, support workers, or assistive technology. We also run many programs to help into work those at risk of long-term unemployment, providing work coaches, skill support, and work experience so that work becomes an achievable goal. We are also encouraging companies to join the Disability Confidence Scheme. Launched in November 2016, this provides employers with the skills, examples, and confidence they need to recruit, retain, and develop disabled employees. We now have over 5,000 businesses, from the smallest to the largest companies, who are committed to making disability confident workplaces. Indeed, we are really pleased to have Microsoft on board in the UK, offering their expertise in this area, as well as on our business leaders group. Government is also an employer, so every government department has signed up, and they now give preferred procurement status to disability-confident employers. Government also looks at the social barriers that might impede people from work. So, for example, we're currently consulting on our accessibility transport plan to ensure that our transport provision works for everyone. But even here, businesses can play a role. Think of all the new apps on your phone that tell us how to move around the city. Some businesses are spotting opportunities in making route maps work for people with visual impairments, when telling users with mobility impairments about accessible routes. So I'd now like to turn to my second theme, which is about the potential of assistive technology. Government recently ran a consultation for Improving Lives, the Work, Health and Disability Green Paper. We received almost 6,000 responses, and many people and organizations told us how innovation in assistive technology is making it cheaper and easier than ever before for employers to support disabled people to get into and remain in work. As we are seeing here today, there is lots of exciting potential in assistive technology. And as a society, we need to make sure that everyone who could benefit from using this technology has access to it. Government will set out its next steps on the work, health, and disability agenda shortly. and it's clear that technology will play a really important role in improving the lives of disabled people and people with health conditions over the next 10 years. Microsoft is showing what it is possible to achieve. So it's exciting to learn how Microsoft is renewing its efforts to build in new accessibility tools across its products and platforms. It's only right that accessibility is built in straight from the start, so that disabled people are included in all areas of society. And what we usually find is that accessible design is good design, and it works for everyone. What drives the development of assistive technology is a spirit of innovation and bringing people with different experiences, perspectives, and skills together. So meeting the needs of disabled people offers an incredible opportunity for innovation. Last year, the Office for Disability Issues ran an accessibility hack, and this has developed into the Open Lab community, an action-driven network of technologists, entrepreneurs, and disabled people who together can uncover innovative ways to tackle barriers to inclusion and participation. And it's not only disabled people who benefit from inclusive and assistive technology. We all benefit from products that are better designed. Whether it's the software interfaces that are so user-friendly, a young child can use them, or our changing needs as we all age, innovative and inclusive technology recognizes that. So with that in mind, I'd now like to hand you on to Haiyan and the team to illustrate just how exciting this space is and the role employers with disabilities have in leading this work. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. I'm Haiyan Zhang. I'm Innovation Director at Microsoft Research in Cambridge. As innovators, we want to create really impactful experiences that matter in people's lives and also solve some of the biggest challenges in society. You might not have realized this, but there are over 1 billion people in the world with disability, whether that's a visible disability or an invisible one. And I think with that kind of population, we can agree that disability is one of these really big challenges that we're facing in the world today. It's also just really important to recognize that there's an advantage and optimism to designing around disability. For example, finding a solution that helps someone with an upper limb disability might also solve problems for someone with an arm injury, or help a mum who has to carry her newborn around all the time and isn't able to use one of her arms. So the issue when we think about disability is not about the disability itself, it's about this loss of function, be it a permanent loss, a temporary loss, or a situational loss. And today we have opportunities in technology that look completely different to those that we had even 5 years ago. So we're able to revisit old challenges with new technologies like artificial intelligence, like machine learning, like cloud connectivity. So let's take a look at a short video where technology is giving someone back their voice.
The wheelchair is at a desk.
I want to be an author, a public speaker, and continue advocating for disability rights. For fun, I am writing a young adult action-packed mystery romance book, and the main character has cerebral palsy.
Microsoft plus accessibility.
We need to be included in stories, so people can imagine what it's like to be someone else.
Justin Smith works at a computer.
Technology is my way to communicate with the world. It is my freedom to get out there. It is my voice. I've been told, when I give a presentation, it's inspired people.
That first speech he did on being human and there were not very many dry eyes in that in that group. It was rather amazing.
In college, I use Office 365. I use PowerPoint for classroom and public speaking presentations. I use OneNote to organize my research papers and class notes. I use Immersive Reader in Word Online to read materials for class.
My hopes for Justin are that he is able to live the life that he dreams of living. If he can work from home and use things like Skype with the translator program, he's able to participate.
I think it's important for young people who have disabilities to share our hopes and dreams. I want to stretch the boundaries of what's possible.
Justin smiles broadly. Microsoft. Microsoft.com/accessibility.
So these features that we're seeing in Office 365, file sharing in the cloud, reading aloud with Word or OneNote, PowerPoint's artificial intelligence-powered designer, and online document collaboration. These are all amazing features that we're already starting to take for granted. But for someone like Justin, this is literally his means to an education. It means for him activism, it means for him a career, and it's connecting him with the wider world. And that's what's really powerful. Because at the end of the day, what we're here to do is to empower every single person and every organization to achieve more. So let's jump into a demo of some exciting new technology which you can all try out at home. I'd like to introduce to the stage Ann Taylor, an incredibly inspirational leader within Microsoft. She's Director of Supportability. She's flown in from Redmond, and she's going to talk to us about what AI means to her. Ann?
Hello, Haiyan, how are you?
Hi. Great to see you.
It is good to see you. Good evening, everybody. Wow, I can have a better noise than that. Good evening, everybody. This is my first time in England. It's been smashing. Is that the right word? Anyway, forgive me if it's not. It's an honor and privilege for me to be here with you today. And I just really want to ask you to join me in the journey of accessibility. And I would really like to relate to each and every one of you today. Because I know, and I truly believe in your potential to make a difference in the lives of others all around you. You know, in the end, we all want to be productive, don't we? We all want to have employment. We want to have the freedom to pursue life's endeavor with the right tool set to help empower us to be successful. By the way, the need of people with disabilities is the same as yours. We want to get everybody there. In my case, just a little bit about me, if you don't mind. In my case, I have been really blessed when I was introduced to Microsoft's technology. As I left Thailand to study abroad in the US during my teenage years, that's a long time ago, Microsoft provided me with tools such as Office and Windows that leveled the playing field so that I could pursue my education and have a fulfilling career. Doesn't everybody deserve that chance? So I have a plea for those of you who are developers. Please do not ever underestimate the impact of your work on the lives of others. Any developers in the house? Come on, come on. Yes. I personally witnessed how technology can change lives for the better. I've been living it. 2 years ago, I joined Microsoft. Every day now I have an opportunity to partner with my colleagues to help improve accessibility of Microsoft products and services. Microsoft's mission, if you know it, you get first glass of beer, is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And AI will help affirm that mission even more. Microsoft is integrating AI technology in our products and services all the time, such as live translation in Cortana, auto captioning in PowerPoint, bots in Bings and Microsoft Teams and so on. And as our AI platforms continue to improve, as more and more people are utilizing Microsoft Cognitive Services, Microsoft Cognitive Toolkits, and Microsoft Bot Framework, there is no doubt that we are changing the landscape of how information will be accessed forever. We also begin to see the benefit of AI technology for people with disability. Let me demonstrate one for you now.
Image, in line with image, in line with text.
You hear image, my narrator is talking. This is Microsoft built-in screen reader. And I'm going to try to get image description. And you can do this too, by the way, if you have a Fall Creator update. I'm going to do Cap Lock Shift D.
Fetching image caption. A woman standing in front of a computer screen. Image text. The Earth Day Groceries Project.
How cool is that? Thank you. You're very kind. I love it when technology works. You all been through demo before, you get it. Previously, I came across images that have no prescription and I was pretty much stuck. Now with cognitive services, I can access the information faster, more accurately. Look, I'm surrounded by sighted people. I love you all. Who communicate through pictures which convey meaning and emotion. You know, technology like this helped me to better relate to my colleagues as we work on projects together. Technology like this helped me better relate to you. It also helped me relate to my friends and my family in a more personal way. I can go to their social media site, figure out what they're interested in, figure out what they're up to. And for those in my family who know very little about technology, auto image recognition, harnessing the power of AI, provide me with more seamless way how to interact with them. Imagine the possibility though. Imagine if I can obtain image recognition, image description for more complex images. Imagine the employment opportunity that will be available for people with disability in an area that we rarely venture into, like in the STEM area. So what would that may look like in the future? Let's see if I can get it to work for the second time.
Image, in line with text. Shift caps lock fetching image caption. Image may contain abstract, screenshot, vector graphics, image text. 10 most populous countries: China, Brazil, India, Nigeria, United States, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Russia, Pakistan, Japan.
Now, if that were to work even better, and we're not too far from that now, we can all benefit from technology like this. Listen, AI is extremely important, and our CEO, Satya Nadella, has a foresight to think about how Microsoft can be a thought leader in this. In his book, Hit Refresh, here's what he said about AI. Microsoft's approach is to put the tool for building AI in the hands of everyone. Democratizing AI means enabling every person and every organization to dream, to create amazing AI solutions that serve their specific needs. There are 1/6 of the population in the world who have disabilities. And you can create technology that will empower those of us who encounter disability or disempower us. It is critical to design with accessibility in mind. And it is not hard once you understand the basic. Will you join me in this journey? Will you? Then go and visit Microsoft.com/accessibility and learn all about it. Thank you very much, everybody. And now, I will invite Haiyan to come back up and talk to you about Presentation Translator.
Thanks, Anne. How about another round of applause for Anne? Okay, well, let's talk about Presentation Translator. In the UK, there are over 7.5 million people who use subtitles when they're watching TV. So what happens when our subtitle users go to work or go to an event like this? Well, hopefully, they'll have access to subtitles. Earlier this year, we launched Presentation Translator, a Microsoft Garage plugin for Office. And so for the first time, presenters like myself, like Anne, can add subtitles into any meeting, ensuring that all audience members can consume our content. In addition to this, we can also translate over 60 languages, and this translation can be delivered on the spot, or it can be delivered remotely via mobile or a web portal. So who might this help? Well, we know that people with hearing loss are one of the largest proportion of people with disability in the workplace. And people also worry about sharing this kind of information with their colleagues, about actually admitting to having issues with hearing. So by making subtitle technology easy to implement and easy to use, we think that they can just become commonplace and remove some of the stigma. We also know that people who are learning English or literacy really benefit from having words to back up the sounds that they're hearing. It just speeds up that learning process. And finally, we really know that meeting minutes are a pain. And that's why we don't have a lot of meeting minutes, because somebody's got to type them up. So the transcript, as you're conducting your meeting, that transcript from PowerPoint can be exported and start making up the bulk of your meeting reports. And it also means you can bring in people of multiple nationalities into your conversation, adding real value to the idea of a global business. So let's take a look at Presentation Translator. I'm going to open up PowerPoint, and in my slideshow tab, I'm going to start up my subtitles. So today I'm going to tell you a story in Chinese, and at the same time, my colleague, Hector, is going to dial in remotely to this meeting with our French team and be reading what I'm saying in French as well. So I'm going to start the subtitles. So, 其实我年轻的时候第一次学英语，我梦想的这样的未来技术，今天这个想象技术变成现实。你也可以用这样的软件在你们的开会里。好，谢谢。现在我想交给我的朋友痛姆。My Chinese is not as good as I would like it to be.
world of Microsoft. Nice to meet you. And thanks for having me to speak. I'd like to also thank Microsoft for developing the products that have helped me do what I do over the years. Really appreciate it. So my name's Tom Nabarro. I'm a software engineer. I work at Intel. And I'm in the wonderful world of high-performance computing, which is a bit strange. And I program in Python and F# as a day-to-day job. So I live in Oxford with my wife, Ellen, my raison d'etre, and we're expecting a baby in March, which really blows my mind. So in 2007, I was injured snowboarding, and since then, I've been writing software. So for over 10 years, and found myself dependent on a multitude of different assistive technologies to help me along the way. So what about assistive technology and me? I need to be productive, especially in my situation. I need to stay productive, to be competitive in the workplace, keep my job, and I complement my computer use with a number of different modes of input, so multimodal input. Now with that, I'm talking about using voice, using gaze control, gestures, and hopefully in the future, more of brain-computer interfaces to help me. Now I use all these technologies not just in work, but in life, so to help my life flow along better. We live in an age where we've got home automation devices, voice-controlled, sitting on our tables at home to help us do menial and important tasks. We can also do this without screens and keyboards, and that's important to me. I don't want to be tied to my technology. So we know that mature and mainstream technologies can become accessible and affordable, not just assistive. Think of the iCloud, think of the cloud. I mean, how many of you guys use the cloud? Everyone uses the cloud. That's an assistive technology. So what about assistive technology in Microsoft? Microsoft are bringing really important things to the table. We've got baked into Windows 10 things like enterprise-ready voice recognition and gaze control that people can use in corporations and government. We've got things like Windows Hello, so you can just rock up to your computer and look at it and log in. Don't need to give a password to someone, which will give away my privacy and my security. These features are really important. They enable me more control, more security, and most of all, more privacy, which I've sorely lacked over the last few years. So I'm going to do a quick demo. Demo may go smoothly, may not, as they will. So I'm sure you guys know about Cortana, but we're going to have a quick test of Cortana. Hey, Cortana. Hey, Cortana. How many goals did Gary Neville score for Manchester United?
According to Answers.com, Gary Neville scored 5 goals in 400 Premier League fixtures for Manchester United between 1992 and 2011.
Ouch, sorry, Gary. So now let's try something else. Let's try and bring up an application with Cortana. And this time I'm going to use a bit of the eye gaze that's built in as well. Hey, Cortana. So having a bit of trouble with the glare from the lights, but it's not working too badly. Okay, so we can also open up a code editor, for example. Hey, Cortana. Hey, Cortana. Launch Visual Studio Code. Now, this is not just any editor.
Visual Studio Code.
This is not just any editor, this is one of the best in class, and it's completely free, and it's from Microsoft. It's really impressive stuff. So let's run a quick test. Why not? We've opened up a Python project, got a simple test there, and we'll run a test. Wake up. Press Control-Shift, Papa. Press Enter. Press Insert. Press hash. Space. Switch to normal mode. Backspace 5. Press space. Say this needs more fleshing out. Stop listening. So there we go, multimodal input, multimodal use of assistive technology. It's not very smooth in the demo, but in real life, it can work quite smoothly and help me do my day job. So, quick demo, bit basic, bit rusty, but here's what I want you to remember from the talk. Every one of us has reduced ability from time to time, not just people who are disabled. So imagine yourself on the phone, holding a child, important work call. You're in a position where you've got a situational disability. Gaze control could enable you to browse a laptop or a PC to find important information pertinent to the call at the same time. So we can all augment, improve, and complement our computer use using assistive technology. So assistive tech is for all of us. Don't forget that. It enables us to make the most of our senses and get the best use of our time, which is the most important thing we have. Thank you very much.
So thanks for joining us today, joining us this afternoon. Hopefully we've shown you how important accessibility is in all of our interactions, from our own workforce and bringing in diverse perspectives in our employee culture, from innovating around accessibility issues and how this can lead to amazing new products and services, and to empowering all of our customers around the world to deliver impactful technology which can include everybody. So thanks so much. Thanks for coming to Future Decoded. Cheers. Thank you.